Itohan's world shattered the day her mother died. Her laughter, her warmth, her gentle lullabies, all gone, leaving a void that echoed with silence. Itohan, just a young girl, found herself adrift in a sea of grief. Her father, consumed by his own sorrow, seemed distant and lost. Into this vacuum stepped her stepmother, a woman whose beauty belied a heart hardened by life's trials. Gone were the days of childhood joy. Itohan found herself relegated to a life of servitude, her days filled with endless chores and her nights haunted by loneliness. Her stepmother's sharp tongue lashed out at the slightest provocation, leaving Itohan feeling small and insignificant. The once vibrant colors of Itohan's world faded into shades of gray. Her home, once a sanctuary of love, now felt like a prison. The laughter of other children grated on her ears, a painful reminder of the happiness that had been stolen from her. Even the sun seemed to shine less brightly, as if mirroring the darkness that had descended upon her young life. Yet even in the depths of her despair, a flicker of hope remained. Deep within her young heart, Itohan clung to the memory of her mother's love, a love that transcended the boundaries of life and death. It was a love that whispered of a higher power, a love that spoke of faith and resilience. In the solitude of her small room, Itohan discovered a sanctuary for her wounded spirit. It was not a place of bricks and mortar, but a realm of words and verses, a haven found within the pages of her mother's worn Bible. Her tiny fingers traced the faded ink, her voice a hushed murmur as she read aloud the stories of faith and redemption. The words, imbued with the spirit of her mother, washed over her like a soothing balm. In the Psalms, she found solace for her aching heart, her own unspoken sorrows echoing in the cries of King David. The stories of Joseph, sold into slavery yet rising to a position of power, filled her with a glimmer of hope. And in the teachings of Jesus, she discovered a love that knew no bounds, a love that promised comfort in the midst of suffering. With each passing day, the scriptures became her constant companions. She memorized verses, their words etched upon her heart like a roadmap through the darkness. The Bible became her shield against despair, her sword against injustice. In its pages, she discovered the strength to endure, the courage to hope, and the unwavering belief that even in the darkest of nights, dawn would eventually break. One particularly harrowing night, the weight of Itohan's sorrows threatened to crush her spirit. Her stepmother's cruelty had reached a fever pitch, her words like venom seeping into the young girl's soul. As tears streamed down her face, Itohan sank to her knees, clutching her Bible to her chest. In that moment of utter despair, she cried out to God, pouring out her pain, her fear, her anger. "Oh Lord," she whispered, her voice thick with sobs, "grant me peace. Help me to understand why this is happening. Give me the strength to forgive." As her prayer echoed in the silence of her room, a profound shift occurred within her. It wasn't a sudden miracle, but a gradual dawning of understanding. Itohan realized that her anger and resentment were only fueling her stepmother's cruelty. She understood that forgiveness wasn't about condoning her stepmother's actions, but about freeing herself from the chains of bitterness. In that moment of clarity, Itohan made a conscious decision. She would choose love over hate, kindness over resentment. She would meet her stepmother's harshness with unwavering gentleness, her cruelty with compassion. It was a daunting task, a path fraught with potential heartache, yet Itohan knew in her heart that it was the only way forward. Itohan's transformation was not lost on those around her. Her father, though still shrouded in his own grief, noticed a newfound serenity in his daughter's eyes. He saw her quiet strength, her unwavering faith, and her ability to meet adversity with grace. Even her stepmother, accustomed to Itohan's submissiveness, was taken aback by the young girl's sudden change in demeanor. Itohan's acts of kindness, though small, began to chip away at the wall of resentment that her stepmother had erected around her heart. A cup of tea offered with a gentle smile, a helping hand extended without hesitation, a listening ear offered without judgment. These simple acts of compassion, like seeds sown in hardened ground, slowly began to take root. It was not a swift or dramatic transformation. There were days when Itohan's stepmother reverted to her old ways, her words laced with venom, her actions fueled by resentment. But Itohan remained steadfast, her faith a beacon of light guiding her through the darkness. She refused to be drawn into the cycle of anger and bitterness. Instead, she met her stepmother's negativity with unwavering love and compassion, believing that even the hardest of hearts could be softened by kindness. As the years passed, a remarkable change swept through Itohan's life. Her stepmother, softened by Itohan's unwavering kindness, began to shed the layers of bitterness that had encased her heart. She began to see Itohan not as a burden, but as a blessing, a testament to the transformative power of forgiveness. The harsh words were replaced with words of encouragement, the cold indifference with genuine affection. Itohan's father, witnessing the transformation in his wife and daughter, emerged from the fog of his own grief. He saw the strength and resilience that Itohan embodied, and he was filled with a profound sense of pride. He finally understood the depth of his daughter's faith, a faith that had not only sustained her through adversity, but had also brought light and love back into their home. Itohan, no longer burdened by the weight of resentment and sorrow, blossomed into a young woman of extraordinary grace and compassion. Her faith, once tested in the fires of adversity, now shone brightly, illuminating the path for others to follow. She had found her purpose, not in spite of her suffering, but because of it. Itohan's life became a testament to the enduring power of faith, the transformative power of forgiveness, and the unwavering belief that even in the darkest of nights, dawn will eventually break.